Hey everyone, have you ever wondered which organs are within the peritoneal cavity and which ones are outside of it? If you recall, the abdominal cavity is this whole large space, but within the abdominal cavity you've got a more irregularly shaped peritoneal cavity, and only certain organs are within that peritoneal cavity. Some are behind it, some are retroperitoneal. To remember which ones are retroperitoneal, use this mnemonic. SAD PUCKER. Suprarenal or adrenal means the same thing, so you probably know it better as the adrenal gland. Aorta and vena cava, the largest blood vessels leaving the heart and going into the heart. The duodenum, the first part of the small intestines. The pancreas, which feeds into the duodenum. The ureter, which exits the kidney. The ascending and descending parts of the colon. There's the kidney, so that would make sense for the adrenal gland since the adrenal is sitting on top of the kidney. The esophagus and the rectum. Let's take a look at our model here and how that would make sense. Okay, once again, the peritoneal cavity is within the abdominal cavity. This whole thing bordered on top by the diaphragm, on bottom by the pelvic floor, that's the abdominal pelvic cavity. The liver is surrounded by peritoneal membrane, so it is within the peritoneal cavity. So is the stomach. The stomach is covered by it too. In between the stomach and liver, there is a fused peritoneal membrane. That's called the lesser omentum. The greater omentum goes along this greater curve and goes over and drapes over the intestines like it does in this picture here. That's the greater omentum, just a layer of serous membrane and fat. This is the transverse colon. It is peritoneal because it's coming out pretty anteriorly. This is representing the jejunum and ileum, the second and third portions of the small intestines. It is anterior, it is peritoneal. So what's retroperitoneal? I've had to remove a bunch of organs. Most of these organs that you see that are behind all these other organs are retroperitoneal. Now you might think that the esophagus and the aorta and vena cava are in the thoracic cavity, and parts of them are, but if you notice, here's the trachea. Here's the trachea. Posterior to the trachea is the esophagus. So here's the esophagus. It's going behind it and goes up to your throat, of course. So here's the esophagus. It goes through the diaphragm, and here is that bit of the esophagus. So the esophagus is retroperitoneal. It's within the abdominal cavity leading to the stomach. The esophagus is retroperitoneal. Here's the adrenal gland. That's the suprarenal, the S and SAD PUCKER. Adrenal gland and kidney, those are retroperitoneal. They're very far behind. Here is our pancreas. It was behind the stomach. Here's the duodenum. The stomach would lead into it, like that. The duodenum is retroperitoneal. And if you remember, for the colon, it was only the ascending and descending. Note how the ascending and descending parts are kind of recessed back. If I lift this out, you can see the curve. It curves back retroperitoneally. So the ascending and descending colons of the large intestine are retroperitoneal. The ureter, which is an extension from the kidney, so adrenal, kidney, ureter, that's retroperitoneal. Here's the aorta, abdominal aorta, retroperitoneal. Here's the inferior vena cava, also retroperitoneal. The last part of the large intestines, descending sigmoid, this then goes farther back, farther posteriorly to the rectum. So here's the rectum. The rectum is retroperitoneal. So to recap, SAD PUCKER, the retroperitoneal organs. S is for suprarenal or adrenal. A is for the aorta and vena cava, the large blood vessels. D is for duodenum. P is for pancreas. U is for ureter, extending down from the kidney on the other side. C is for colon, specifically the ascending and descending parts. Ascending colon, descending colon. K is for kidney. K is for kidney. E is for esophagus. And R is for rectum. Sad pucker. Those are your retroperitoneal organs, and the other ones are within the peritoneal cavity, like the stomach and the liver and the jejunum and ileum. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.